Tracetta Washington, two top-notch career and business strategists are here to help you defy standards and break boundaries. Join them as they share powerful insights that have already impacted thousands of people and will have a major impact on your career, life balance, and business.
Hello, hello. Welcome. Great day, everyone. Great day. Hope everyone's feeling fabulous. Hey, Tracetta, how's it going, my friends?
It's going great. It's good to see you, Ruth.
How are you? It's been amazing. It's like I said, I was telling you earlier, I was sharing with you. I feel like this week has been a roller coaster ride. And sometimes you kind of want to just be able to just stay on the slope and just hang out for a little bit longer. But for those who are chiming in, y'all go ahead and grab your favorite beverages. I have mine here getting ready to sip. I'm really excited because we've been here in Breaking Boundaries, episode 23. Go ahead and share this because I believe that you know for true that there's other peers that you know, friends, family members, it doesn't matter. You want to be able to help us. Do us a favor. Help us go ahead and increase the algorithm and increase the visibility on our topic today. And we're going to talk about unleashing your authenticity and the key to leadership. Oh, it's going to get so delightful. Just hang in tight there. And if for whatever reason you all are coming in, for those new ones who are coming in and maybe wondering, who do we have in front of us? Well, I'm glad you asked. I am Ruth Mack, and I'm on a mission. I help mid-level professionals and up, most importantly around HR. For those who are just looking to get from being unrecognized to recognized, and most importantly, being able to stand out as top talents so they can be able to land their next dream career. And they don't want to do it alone. You shouldn't have to. And if that is you, go ahead and DM me or message us. But definitely know that, you're definitely in the right place, and looking forward to expounding on what we're going to be talking about very shortly.
Yes, we have an amazing episode. So for those of you who are new to me, I am Tracetta Annell Washington, CEO and founder of Profitable Productivity. And what we do is help ambitious women in leadership to overcome burnout and overwhelm by using an approach that really combines time management strategies and intentional self-care practices. It's what I like to call balanced ambition. And I draw on my 25 plus years of experience in operations management and provide tailored solutions that help you to increase your productivity and create sustainable success, empowering women to achieve their goals without sacrificing your health or your well-being. And if that's you and you're ready to start creating balanced ambition in your life, shoot me a DM or hop on my calendar at chatwithtracetta.com. I'd be happy to have a chit chat with you and see how we can start that process.
I love it. I love it. Now, for the main reason, let's go ahead and jump right in, because I want you all to go ahead and just let us know what you are ready to get unpacked with. First of all, we all know that we live in a society where a lot of people wear different images, and instead of being their full, true, divine self, we're now probably falling in love with their ego, their alter ego, or perhaps their persona. But we want to go ahead and let you know authenticity is becoming increasingly viable in leadership, right? Especially as people, you want to be genuine. You want to be full of transparency and relatable. Go ahead and let us know that. Is that happening nowadays? Are you getting to now become aware that, oh my gosh, I need to get more real people. I need people to become more real, more involved, more in hands-on. And when you know and embrace your authentic identity, you can lead with integrity and build deeper connections with your team, your customers, your stakeholders, and even the people that follows you, if you're maybe growing your community or your tribe. And so we want to just jump in and say, what is authentic leadership? Go ahead and let us know exactly how it can be defined. What is your take on that, Tracetta?
Well, authentic leadership is really a type of leadership style that has an emphasis on the leader's self-awareness, transparency, ethical behavior, and the commitment to the development of others, right?
Yeah.
Not just self, but developing the people who follow them, right? And it's based on this idea that leaders who are true to themselves and their values
Mhm.
can inspire, right? Because we want to be inspired, not only that, motivated, right? So we
We
love
want to have
something
that synergy. We want to be able to connect with our leaders.
right,
We want to know that they're genuine and it matters to them as well as to us that they see us. I see you.
right. So, and it's difficult for you to motivate people to your team members or whoever it is that's following your leadership. It's difficult to motivate them to achieve those common goals if you don't have that inspire factor. So you need
Mhm.
both, right? So you've got to be able to cast the vision. And a lot of leaders are good at sharing the what,
Mhm.
what is it that we're doing, like the nitty gritty things, but they don't do that vision casting and pull back and show this is where we're going and this is why these nitty gritty things pieces matter.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
So, and some of the characteristics that you just topped off and mentioned that we want to be able to see in our leaders, we want to be able to see that they are self aware because even having conversations and team building in the past, and even talking to clients on one to one, I always express on do you have a deep understanding on what are your strengths and your weaknesses? What are your values that you're bringing to the table? Are you aware of your emotions? Are you aware on how you communicate? I know I love sitting here and parking here quite a bit because the way your tone and your approach, how you affect other behaviors, are you aware? Are you being mindful? Oh, wow, I may need to tone down my volume, even though I'm being passionate. This is something I'm holding dear to, but is it being received that way? Right. And then being full transparency. That's another characteristic that
Yeah.
we know to be true. Like, are you being real? Are you keeping it correct? Are you coming in with the full divine of way of sharing your thoughts and feelings openly? And are you not afraid to admit your mistakes?
Yeah.
There's a
I
lot of,
think that's something that's missing in leadership,
yeah.
especially in this day and age. There's still kind of like this old guard of very authoritative leadership, and stepping into authentic leadership, or authenticity in leadership. Really, I think transparency is one of the top characteristics that you will see with this type of leader, because they're not afraid to get in the trenches with you and be human, instead of trying to paint this picture like, oh, I'm all knowing, all and all that in a bag of chips, as they say, right? Like,
Yes.
they get in the trenches with you and show their humanness and aren't afraid to say, you know what, this is what I desire for us to do. I don't know if this is going to work, but if we come together,
Yeah.
and put all of our effort into it, and put all of our strength and
I
into this
agree.
project, that we can make it happen.
And adding some ethical behavior,
Oh
another
yeah,
form, because having that form is a strong sense of ethic and integrity. Because here's the truth: that what is the right way? What way should you come in? Are you putting yourself in a hot seat every day and holding your hands to the fire and saying, you know what, am I holding myself and others accountable for their actions, or am I being passive? Right? We don't want to do that. Are we being relational, also with our transparency? Are we identifying in a genuine, kind way, but still having a way where we want to be stern, but not in a sense where we're disconnecting the human part, the charismatic version of us, right? Because
yeah,
I do believe every person can explore that version of them. It's just, have you given yourself permission to even be aware? Am I being too authoritative, or am I needing to kind of show more of my empathy and understanding, right?
yeah. I want to. There's a comment from Greg Jones. He says authentic leadership. Long story short, you live by what you say. And I love this part that he
Mm.
says. He says, meaning you give advice, you better be doing it too. Right. I think that's the crux of what authentic leadership is, like I was saying earlier, it's like, you're not afraid to work alongside, you're not better than
Come
your
through.
team members, right? You
Come through.
can,
Yes.
when it's necessary, when things, yes, there are certain things that you need to do as the leader, whether you're at the top or leader of your department or leader of a team. There's certain things that you have to do in order to keep things moving forward. But when the team as a whole is in a crunch situation where maybe you're short staffed or you're under a deadline and things need to get done, you got to be able to get down in there in the trenches with them and do the same things that you're asking of them. So I love that definition, Greg.
I love that. You want to balance the process too. Do we truly understand how open, what ways to be more open? What's the different perspectives on looking at different opinions from different leaders, different members of the team? And do you consider everybody's viewpoints? Or do you just go into a narrow funnel vision and before making decisions, you automatically not showcasing, well, let me be open. Let me go ahead and take notes. Let me give everybody the opportunity who's in the room, who has a voice, and be able to leverage their voice, right? And, or am I just going ahead and just selectively making a choice and not giving them permission to, because they may have something that they can definitely disrupt or give you the curiosity of, you know what, I haven't heard it in that way before. Tell me more, right? Or do you see yourself saying, you know what, I just want to own my own view and my own interests? That's not balancing the process at all. That's another trait. And another one is self-discipline. I too going to admit, I fall short sometimes on this area, but authentic leaders have self-discipline. And you want to be able to stick to it. In a way to doing so, you want to be able to give yourself grace to be mindful of that. Do you sit down and reflect? And, we're huge on writing, because you got to be able to know what's holding you back, what's keeping you from removing those old habits and being able to not compromise your beliefs and values for just your own personal gain. Right?
Yeah.
What else?
And then the last characteristic I think that we should share is that authentic leaders empower others.
Yes.
They're committed to developing their team members, or the people who that are considered their followers, and they empower them to achieve their full potential. They create this really positive and supportive environment where people feel valued and encouraged to rise to the top and to grow and to take risks. One of the things when I was a manager, when I was in management, one of the things that I felt was my responsibility was to grow and develop my employees to the point where they were desirable in the marketplace, where I would consider it to be the ultimate compliment for someone to recruit away my best talent and, for an outstanding or stellar opportunity, because that's, in my opinion, that is a compliment to my ability to lead.
Let's go ahead and build on that. I like that. Let's build the bridge on the benefits from empowering others to now let's stem it up a little bit. Let's beef it up by what are the benefits of being authentic? Because there's reward behind these
absolutely.
Of showcasing both the authentic leaders and their followers, right? We want to be able to increase, we talked about it earlier, but we want to break it down. What are the benefits? You're increasing trust and respect, right? Authentic leaders are definitely transparent. They hold a certain standard and ethical, and they're reliable, right? Which makes them more 100% trustworthy and respected by their followers, by their team, by their leaders, and their mentors or whoever they may see truth that's part of their inner circle. This trust, my friend, it's a respect that can actually lead to increased loyalty, commitment from those who look upon them as their leaders, as their role models, right? And you want to be able to improve your communication. I'm huge on that because, as I was sharing with you all earlier or in a previous, communication matters. And if you don't know to be true that, am I speaking in a way that I'm not downplaying the person that I'm talking to? Am I speaking in a way that I'm involving my empathetic version of me to be present in part of that conversation. And that's where you want to be able to be open and honest, and in your communication, you also want to improve your communication. And that's something I do believe that needs to be done on an ongoing basis, not when things are firing up and now you're finding yourself, oh my gosh, this is a lesson learned, or you're now needing to reflect. It's ongoing, right?
Yeah.
You want to actively show empathy. You want to be able to help create more positive environment and be more supportive at work, even in your life altogether.
Yeah, definitely. When when you are showing up in that capacity of being open and honest with your communication with those who are under your leadership,
Yeah.
it creates an environment where people can trust what you say, right? Because a lot of times we can't, when you're in a place where you don't trust what the leaders say because they say one thing and then you see evidence or they do something different, then there's no trust there. And by being authentic, by being transparent, you can really improve the communication within your organization or your team, because now people, when you say things, they believe you.
100%.
And
Better. It's better that way.
absolutely. And another benefit is that then leads to higher levels of engagement and motivation, right? Because you can empower those under your leadership again to take those risks and to grow.
I love how you said empower them, because some people stay in their shell and they be a bit of a hermit, and that's not saying that's their personality. They're just being super cautious. Am I saying the right thing? Am I being leveraged here? But once you allow someone to let their guard down, because now you're engaging, you're inspiring, you're empowering. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, and of course, then they'll feel more value, they'll feel valued.
Yes.
Right. And I've been seeing quite a bit lately where people are posting about how people don't leave companies or organizations, they leave leaders.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
They leave, or managers, they leave managers.
Yes.
Because oftentimes it's because they're dissatisfied with the environment. They don't feel valued. They don't feel appreciated.
It could be a great company, right?
Right.
It could be a great company, great benefits, everything. But the moment you're interacting with another personality that's not somehow vibing with yours, it makes it a burnout situation. It makes you feel
absolutely. And it could even be the idea. It could be even their dream role.
yes.
But if the person who they are submitting to under as far as a leader is not an authentic leader, is not a strong leader, they're not going to stay, right? So by being an authentic leader, you're really stepping in, you're really allowing that higher level of engagement, that higher level of motivation, and not only that, like you're a better decision maker as a result. That's another benefit, because you're able to you have that open dialogue, that open communication with your teams, and that will enable you to be able to get many viewpoints, all the different viewpoints, so that you have all the information you need before you make a decision, as opposed to being really siloed and only seeing things from your own perspective. And you're much more likely to make ethical decisions when you, which will then in turn lead to better outcomes, right? So when you're making these, decisions with having all of those different perspectives and you're making them ethically, then it's a win-win for everyone.
It really is, because now you're not just so much more going based on just hearing your voice. You're giving the permission to allow your team to leverage their background, their competency, and just interacting, and then improving which is another character that a lot of people may have a lot to say on this, and the audience may be already to prepare to hear this. Improved performance, because now you're showcasing as that superstar. You're coming up, you're showing up, you're creating the leaders around you is creating a positive environment where you're able to showcase how supportive you are at work, which can lead to improving your performance and productivity, because that matters, because you want to get rewarded. How many of you all can know and say, man, what ways can I truly do help my team so that they can feel that they're developing their skills, they're sharpening themselves to be better and have the abilities that they didn't think they did have, but now that you're sharpening their iron and allowing them to say, hey, kudos, great status, you did really well. You're providing them a roadmap. With my clients, they say, Ruth, I don't have a roadmap. I don't know what the next chapter look like in my career. But wouldn't it be worth it if your leaders were now being able to lead with a different direction by increasing innovation and creativity, right? Which is another major characteristic of an authentic leader. You want to be able to showcase that, man, if I can show that you are empowered, you can utilize your innovative and creative part of your mindset and be involved with the team, be involved with the organization at large, be part of the mission and the vision, staying competitive. Because after a while, you're like, well, Ruth, I'm not getting challenged, enough. I'm not seeing myself growing. I kind of hit a plateau. What would you recommend for them to be saying, you know what, I do want to be able to increase into my innovation way and creativity as a leader, but how can I perform now? We'll talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we get into kind of some of the strategies or techniques for developing yourself as an authentic leader, I want to share a few examples of people that I'm sure you have heard of who are considered to be authentic leaders.
Love it.
Is Nelson Mandela, right? If you aren't familiar with Nelson Mandela, he was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary, politician, and philanthropist, and he's really widely regarded as an authentic leader who demonstrated courage and humility and integrity throughout his life, right? So it wasn't like a one-time thing. Like, he is known for being courageous and humble, right? And holding himself to high levels of integrity. Yeah. Then another one of the former CEO of one of my favorite places on earth, Starbucks.
Oh my God. Tell us, what is it?
Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks. I'm sure I don't have to tell you who Starbucks is. I think everyone living in the US at this point knows a little bit about Starbucks, but Schultz is really known for his authentic leadership style because he emphasized transparency, ethical behavior, and was really, really focused on the development and well-being of his employees.
Oh my God.
He was very controversial. He experienced a lot of controversy. I can't remember when exactly that was, but he had a very controversial policy within his organization about supporting, providing benefits and support for the LGBTQ. I'll just say plus because there's so many letters now. But that community of employees to ensure that their partners had access to benefits, and he took a lot of flack for that. But he was being true to his own ethical values. And then also our beloved Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG, right? Yeah. She was a jurist and a feminist, and she served as an associate justice on the Supreme Court, and passed away. Was that last year? I think it was last year she passed away. But she's also known for her authenticity, determination, and commitment to gender equality and social justice, right? So those are just a few examples of modern day authentic.
I love that you mentioned that, because sometimes leaders be like, well, who do I need to become? How are they authentic? Study authentic leaders. Study those who already in a level of presence with their team, and how are they performing? How are they interacting? What are their behavior habits, and what are their disciplines? And I love that Tracetta just named these powerful leaders. That to me speaks volume. When you're able to take time of your day and just take aside and just learn about these folks. And then brings us to our next segment, our final segment is techniques for developing authentic leadership, which brings me to this is a really great point where you want to be able to require, it to me, I do believe developing this area does require combination of what self-awareness, reflection, and practice. Practice. You got to
Yeah.
study to show yourself approved. Here are some practical techniques that can help you develop an authentic leadership skills. Number one, identifying your values. Kind of do a brain dump, right? Reflect on your personal values and beliefs and write them down. And think about how you can align with other leaders and how your life, maybe your leadership style may complement other leadership styles, right? Another way is practicing self-reflection. I do believe in doing this every day, even before I go to bed. What ways could I, be been a better person in general? When did I maybe miss the mark and find myself getting back on track? Right? Just sitting aside, self-reflection and introspection of what you've done. Maybe consider again what's your areas of pitfalls? What are your shortcomings? And how they affect your leadership styles, right? Ask for feedback. That's something that I do believe that a lot of us kind of keep our voice at a silence without say, hey, I want to be put this across your table. Let me know your thoughts on it. Major celebrities do it all the time. Kevin Hart and Chris Rock and David Chappelle, although they're in different levels in their career, they still harness on everyone's opinions, because there's some areas of them that have a different leadership style. So imagine you're giving yourself grace to just reach out to other leaders or even peers and say, hey, what's your perspective on this? Do you think I'll be hitting different elbows? You know how you hit an elbow and it gets that electrified. I don't want to give that type of version of energy vibe. I want to make sure it's synergy, it's connecting. And another way is, what else can we add onto that?
Communication, right? Like we've talked about it throughout this entire episode, but being transparent in your communication by being open and honest with the people under your leadership. So openly share your thoughts, your feelings, and ideas, and encourage everyone else to do the same thing. Now, I want to put a caveat in here. Honest communication doesn't mean that you divulge everything about yourself.
Tell me about that. Right.
Being transparent doesn't mean that you share all of the things that's happening in your life, the things that are going wrong, the things that are going right. That's not what that means. It just means when it is appropriate to be honest about things, especially when you're being asked direct questions. Don't try to sidestep or give, what do they call them? Soundbite responses. You want to be honest. And if you don't know, or if things are, are still developing, just say that. Say, I'm not really sure yet. We're still vetting vendors or whatever the case may be. We're still
a lot of people still find that to be hard to say, like as though it's going to demise or dim the light on them. No, it actually brings the light, makes the light even more.
It does. It really does. It makes you look better in the light of those that you lead, because again, it brings the humanness and it shows that you are being, it shows vulnerability.
Yes.
And the way to build trust with people is through vulnerability.
I agree. And another benefit, another way of developing this certain type of techniques is being accountable. Be accountable. Hold yourself accountable. Sometimes a lot of us don't put our hands to the fire and be like, no, I'm going to go ahead and own this. I do that a lot with my small team. Take responsibility for the mistakes and learn from them, and get feedback from your team members. Some of us just think that getting constructive feedback from your own team members is beneath you. No, hear them out. Hear what they have to say. And again, back to the empower your followers. another way of developing and getting these techniques out of you. Like, what ways can I become more of this new version of this authentic leader that Tracetta and Ruth is talking about? By encouraging your followers to do the same. Take ownership of their work and empower them to make proper decisions. And if they do fall back, let's go ahead and create lesson learns. Let's prep them. Let's go ahead, because I do believe that what we live in today, which is Earth, is a big old school. Provide them with opportunities for growth and development, because I'm telling you, it's a big major gap in a lot of career growth and career development within companies. Because I talk to hundreds and hundreds of people, and high performers, that is, who see this as a major setback. And you want to be able to lead by example. This is a major development that I know to be true, because you want to set positive examples for your followers, for your team, by living your values and demonstrating ethical behavior. Because it matters to me that I'm portraying in a way that is holistic and it's inviting, and they're welcoming their comments and their opinions to me, because I set up a tone, I set up an environment that is allowing them to be themselves, right? What else?
Yeah. That goes back to what Greg was saying earlier about, kind of giving, if you're giving advice, you better be able to actually, or be doing the same thing that you're advising. So that's that leading by an example of that leading by example. And then finally, I would say continual personal and professional development yourself, right? So not only do you want to create space for your team members or for your followers to grow and develop, but you want to seek out opportunities for you to learn and grow as a leader as well, or just as a human being. Because look, we're not perfect. None of us are perfect. And until we're going to be in a state of continual growth, hopefully continual growth and development until we take our final breath here on this earth. So look for things like training programs or books that can help you to improve your leadership skills. And like Ruth has said a couple of times, seek out feedback on a continual basis to figure out, like, where are some of my gaps? What are the things that I can work on? How can I be more empathetic? How can I be more open and honest with my team? How can I develop better communication? I think that's something that Greg was talking about too in the chat, right? That, how can I learn how to listen empathetically, listen to understand, as opposed to listening to respond. I think a lot of us get in that, I want to hear what they're saying so that I can respond. But no, we want to be able to listen to understand.
We unpacked quite a bit here, and I'm suspecting our audience is going to be thinking, man, you may want to go back and watch this a couple more times, let it process a lot more, take some notes, and then go back and create yourself a plan as to how I'm looking to elevate as this authentic leader, and creating some of these techniques and being able to build some of these traits within your own character, right? So we've broke down quite a bit. Let us know in the comments. Let us know if this is resonating with you, and definitely want you to be able to walk away with the benefits of the authentic leadership. We talked about that. We talked about what is authentic leadership and what are part of the techniques that you can walk away with and actually put into work, because that's going to definitely define more. It's going to give you the grace to now be aware. Oh my gosh, I've been thinking this way. Oh my gosh, I've been feeling this way. Because now you're getting feedback. You're allowing yourself to hear different perspectives and views. And you see other leaders now that Tracetta was able to talk about. You're now studying them and looking at what ways you can now sharpen your iron and become more better of a person and as a leader as well. And in closing, I want you to be able to continue to just stay encouraged, allow yourself to know that you're going to make mistakes. You're going to show some flaws, and that's okay. That's, again, showing the human nature part of you, but also letting you know that, hey, I had to do those 77 times of failure to now recognize where I'm at today. Let people know you didn't get to where you were just by bells and whistles. it took some work. So are you ready to put in some work is where we're getting at as well.
Yeah.
It's been a joy talking to you all. Let us know in the comments. Go ahead and share this. Share share this episode. Share this. If you maybe missed the prior ones, you want to go back. You definitely go back.
And make sure you're here next week, right? You want to make sure that you join us next week because we're going to be continuing this series.
Follow us, like it, subscribe, and be part of our tribe, be part of our mission, because we're wanting to disrupt the algorithm. This AI, everybody's getting timid about. That's another whole different story, but we want to elevate and really reach out to the masses, to the community at large. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you all next time. And in the meanwhile, go ahead and stay blessed.
Join and subscribe with career strategist Ruth McCracken and business strategist Trissetta Washington to the Breaking Boundaries podcast each week. You too can experience the limitless potential of rewriting rules and creating an extraordinary future for yourself.